Hello fellow dragons, it's Shane from Astral Dragon Gaming, and this is a review for Ministry of Broadcast, a small indie game that has a lot of humour, a lot of sort of showing of what a socialist regime is all about, and also about the strangeness of an Orwellian sort of world gone mad. But at the same time, a very comical game as well. It's basically... It's a 2D game where you play as a normal person that wanted to, get over the wall and get to his family, and he has to play this strange game. It's out on PC and I think a lot of other bits and pieces as well, if memory serves me right. But yeah, let's get into the idea of what the game looks like and everything. It's basically a 2D rendered game. It is extremely well done. It's all pixel and you don't get much detail on the faces or anything, but at the same time the animation and how well it's done and how well it's sort of shown when a person's talking, when a person's walking, and all the other bits and pieces. Like even the simple thing of a person walking through the snow and their footprints will actually fade as the snow keeps on falling and changes with it. There are a lot of interesting and well done details with pixel art, and I remember back in the days when you had things like Another World or even Abe's Odyssey, and the animation and whatnot was kind of very primitive compared to the amount of detail and amount of skill that's been done in a lot of them nowadays. And this shows what you can do with a very limited amount of pixels and a very big imagination. And this game really hits the mark when it comes to that kind of thing. So we'll have a quick listen to the sound and whatnot. There is no voice, so you're only going to hear the music and the sound. But we'll go through a few bits and pieces, and we'll get into it after that. The sound work in this is really quite interesting. It's a very in-depth game when you look at it all as a whole package. The individual sort of scraping of a guy signing a piece of paper, the crunch of your feet as you go through snow or you go through different textures and whatnot, and even the great detail of the vehicles, of the attack dogs, the guns, and just the environmental sounds when you're outside or the environmental sounds when you're inside is all so well done. And it's been done in such a way that it becomes a believable thing, which leads to the animations itself, giving it sort of its own sort of meaning and purpose. And that's an interesting thing about a game like this, where the visuals are the most important thing that you're looking at, but it's the subtle sounds, it's the simple sounds, and it's the just contextual sounds that everything has. Like flames actually sound like flames, and they have a distance where you can hear them up to or from, and simple things like that. The music, it's not groundbreaking, but at the same time it matches the theme. It makes the game lived in. It makes you feel inside the game, and it's very involved and very interesting. The game itself is extremely interesting because it takes me back to the old days of Another World, Flashback, what's another one? Heart of Darkness as well. All these sort of simple games that had a simple premise that you had to go in, and it was a really interesting game, and you had to be pixel perfect in your movement and everything in this. So anyway, you play as a Ranger, or redhead, Carrot Top in Australian terms, and your whole beef in this is to try and win this competition where you participate in this sort of online, constantly sort of broadcast TV show where you're pitted against different things and different objects and everything to overcome them and become the person that's going to succeed and get granted what you want. And it's a very bleak world. It doesn't talk very much about what happened to the outside world. It covers what happens to people as you go through, and it gets darker and darker the further you go into this game. It's not a very long game, but at the same time it's a very complex game of basic puzzles and whatnot, where you have to do a whole load of different things in order to progress. And one of the very interesting things about this is that death is not a thing that happens, it's just an inconvenience, really. But at the same time, you die so much in this game. Like, you accidentally walk down to one place, you actually walk through a place, an icicle slices you through the head, you get eaten by a crocodile, you get eaten by piranhas, all these manner of different ways that you can die. And it really gives the game its own sort of depth and interesting thing. And also, you have this sentient crow that follows you everywhere and is basically waiting for you to die all the time. It's a fantastically orchestrated game. It's designed with that kind of soul-crushing oppressiveness that is a concentration camp, but at the same time, you're not in a concentration camp. You're in a camp for this broadcast that has to be done in order to succeed what you want to do. And it's really a very big mind bender of a game, but at the same time it's so well designed and it's so interesting in its sort of approach to the whole thing. And the sarcasm, my god, the sarcasm of the different characters, how they choose to talk to you, how they respond to you, and it's just are fantastic things. The controls here are literally pixel perfect controls that you need to get hammered down every time. And also environmental textures have to be looked at, like thin ice, icicles hanging from somewhere, a great height that you have to jump a certain way, or you have to get past a guard or the guard will shoot you and stuff like that. All these really simple ideas that are a hallmark of this kind of puzzling platformer game. It's like Prince of Persia jumped up to level 9. Like, it's a spoiler, but if you don't like spoilers, just skip ahead for a couple of seconds. But even at one point you get to shoot people with your finger gun, and I mean that, you just point your finger and you shoot them. It's a really fantastic game that is well worth the play and well worth the price of admission, and I can wholeheartedly recommend that. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please have a look at this game. It's really good, it's really enjoyable, and it's kind of balls to the wall in difficulty, where you have to be a lateral thinker and think outside the box, but at the same time it's such a well done game that's well worth the play. And since you're already here, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, hit the like button because I like you too, and see me on the next video. Anyway, you have fun from now, and I will see you another time. Bye for now.